They expected an aircraft carrier. What they saw instead was something far more unsettling. No massive island tower, no long catapult tracks, no endless rows of parked jets. Yet from a distance, it looked every bit as dangerous. A wide flight deck stretching across the horizon, helicopters lifting off in rapid succession, jets roaring into the sky without warning. This was not a carrier, and it was not a transport ship. This was USS America, a warship designed for a world where wars don't begin with declarations, they begin with sudden crises, natural disasters, evacuations, rapid troop insertions, and conflicts that explode without warning. USS America wasn't built to fight yesterday's wars. It was built to respond to tomorrow's emergencies fast, flexible, and unpredictable. And that is exactly why it scares people. When the U.S. Navy first revealed USS America, even seasoned naval analysts were confused. It was classified as an amphibious assault ship, but it didn't look like one. Traditional amphibious ships are built around landing craft, troop transports, and vehicle decks. USS America broke that tradition. No well deck, no large internal dock for landing craft. Instead, the Navy made a radical decision. They sacrificed traditional amphibious capability to turn USS America into an aviation-focused warship. In simple terms, USS America is a mini aircraft carrier, but one designed specifically to support Marine Corps operations. It carries F-35B stealth fighters, MV-22 Ospreys, CH-53 heavy-lift helicopters, AH-1Z attack helicopters, all operating from a single flight deck. This ship wasn't built to launch massive air campaigns. It was built to put Marines anywhere on Earth, quickly, quietly, and with overwhelming air support. And in today's world, that ability is priceless. To understand why USS America exists, you have to understand what changed. For decades, U.S. naval strategy was built around one assumption, that major wars would involve large landings, massive fleets, and clearly defined front lines. But the world stopped cooperating with that idea. Wars became smaller but faster. Conflicts moved closer to coastlines. Threats emerged from non-state actors, proxy forces, and sudden regional crises. The Navy realized something critical. By the time a traditional carrier strike group arrives, the moment may already be over. So the question changed. Instead of asking, how do we dominate an entire region? The Navy began asking, how do we respond in the first 24 hours? USS America is the answer to that question. She was designed for speed of response, not sheer size, for flexibility, not fixed missions, for uncertain conflicts, not predictable wars. Where a supercarrier brings overwhelming force, USS America brings immediate presence. She can launch Marines within hours, support evacuation operations, provide air cover without a full carrier group, operate close to shore, where carriers avoid risk. This is not a ship built to wait offshore. This is a ship built to move first, and that makes her incredibly relevant in today's geopolitical climate. Modern conflicts don't start with battleships lining up. They start with embassies under threat, civilians needing evacuation, allies requesting immediate support, sudden instability in coastal regions. And in those moments, speed matters more than scale. USS America can be on station quickly. She doesn't need massive port infrastructure. She doesn't require long runways or host nation approval. She carries her airbase with her. This is why USS America was forward deployed to Japan, not as a show of force, but as a guarantee of response. From the Western Pacific, she could reach the South China Sea, the Korean Peninsula, Southeast Asia, disaster zones across the Pacific when earthquakes hit, when tensions spike, when evacuations become necessary. USS America doesn't wait for reinforcements. She is the first reinforcement. And this is why, in recent years, analysts and defense watchers began paying closer attention to her deployments, because ships like USS America don't appear in headlines when nothing happens. They appear when something almost did. At first glance, USS America looks incomplete. No catapults, no arresting wires, no long rows of parked jets. But that's because she doesn't need them. USS America was designed around a different kind of aviation concept, one that favors vertical lift, flexibility, and rapid deployment. At the center of this concept is the F-35B Lightning II. Unlike traditional carrier jets, the F-35B can take off from short decks, land vertically, operate without catapults. This single feature changed everything. For the first time, a ship the size of USS America could field stealth fighter jets without being a supercarrier. And these are not light aircraft. The F-35B brings stealth technology, advanced sensors, networked battlefield awareness, precision strike capability. From USS America's deck, these jets can provide air cover, strike land targets, or escort marine operations often before larger forces even arrive. But the F F-35B is only part of the story. USS America also operates MV-22 Ospreys, capable of flying Marines hundreds of miles inland, CH-53K King Stallions, lifting heavy equipment where no port exists, AH-1Z Vipers, providing close air support, UH-1Y Venoms, coordinating command and rescue. This isn't an air wing built for air superiority alone. It's built for control of the battle space near the coast. And that makes USS America incredibly dangerous in the kind of conflicts most likely to happen today. USS America is not centered on jets. She is centered on Marines. Everything about this ship, from its internal layout to its aviation capacity, exists to support one mission: put Marines where they're needed, when they're needed, with overwhelming support. This ship can carry hundreds of Marines, their equipment, their aircraft, their command structure, and it can do so without relying on ports, runways, or friendly bases. That independence is critical. In many crisis scenarios, access is uncertain. Airfields may be damaged. Ports may be controlled by hostile forces. USS America bypasses all of that. She stays offshore and sends Marines inland by air. This concept is called vertical envelopment. Instead of landing on a beach, forces arrive from the sky fast, unexpected, and protected by air power launched from the same ship. It's a strategy built for speed, surprise, and flexibility. And USS America is one of the few ships in the world optimized entirely for it. That's why Marine commanders value this platform so highly. It doesn't just transport them, it fights with them. USS America was not stationed in Japan by accident. Forward deployment is one of the strongest signals the U.S. Navy can send, stronger than exercises, stronger than statements. When a ship is forward deployed, it means one thing: this region matters enough that we're staying. USS America spent years homeported in Sasebo, Japan, placing her at the heart of the Indo-Pacific. From there, she could respond in days, not weeks, to rising tensions in the South China Sea, North Korean missile activity, regional crises involving allies, humanitarian disasters across Asia. This was not about preparing for a single enemy. It was about being ready for anything. Japan sits near some of the world's most sensitive maritime corridors. Any disruption there affects global trade, energy supply, and political stability. USS America's presence meant Marines, aircraft, and command staff were already in position long before any crisis made headlines. And that readiness mattered. If the Middle East defined naval strategy in the early 2000s, the Indo-Pacific defines it today. This is where the majority of global trade flows. Multiple nuclear powers operate in close proximity. Territorial disputes overlap with economic lifelines. It is also where naval forces operate under constant observation. Every movement is tracked, every deployment analyzed, every decision scrutinized. USS America's role here was unique. Unlike a supercarrier, which projects overwhelming force, USS America projects persistent presence. She can operate closer to shore. She can move Marines quickly. She can support allies without escalating tensions. In many ways, she is the perfect ship for a region where conflict is often avoided but always possible. And that balance between power and restraint is exactly what modern naval strategy demands. After years in Japan, something changed. USS America returned to the United States. To casual observers, it looked routine, a scheduled rotation, a normal Navy decision. But to analysts, it raised questions. Why move such a strategically placed ship back home? Why shift a forward-deployed platform at a time of rising tensions? The answer wasn't retreat, it was evolution. USS America had already proven the concept. Now the Navy wanted to refine it. Her time in Japan exposed real-world lessons: how aviation-heavy amphibious ships perform long-term, how F-35B operations scale at sea, how Marines integrate air power without a carrier. Those lessons needed to be absorbed and applied to future ships. USS America wasn't leaving relevance behind. She was returning with experience, and the Navy was preparing the next step. USS America changed how the Navy thinks. Before her, amphibious ships were seen primarily as transport platforms. After her, they became independent combat assets. The Navy learned that stealth aircraft don't need supercarriers to be effective. Smaller decks can still control airspace. Marines and aviation work best when tightly integrated. They also learned the limits. Operating without a well deck, reduced flexibility for certain missions. Some scenarios still required traditional amphibious capability. That's why later ships in the class, like USS Tripoli, adjusted the design. Not because USS America failed, but because she succeeded enough to show what worked and what didn't. That's the role of a true prototype, not perfection, progress. From the beginning, USS America had critics. Some said the Navy had made a mistake by removing the well deck. Others argued the ship was too specialized for real-world combat. A few even claimed USS America was neither a true carrier nor a proper amphibious ship. To them, it looked like a compromise. But that criticism often missed the point. USS America was never meant to replace anything. She wasn't built to take over the role of aircraft carriers, and she wasn't designed to perform every amphibious mission. She was built to fill a gap between slow-moving amphibious groups and high-demand carrier strike groups. In modern warfare, flexibility matters more than tradition, and USS America challenged tradition. Her critics focused on what she lacked. Her supporters focused on what she enabled. The truth lies somewhere in between. USS America didn't break the Navy's playbook. She rewrote one chapter. Today's world looks nothing like the one USS America was designed for. It looks more unstable. Regional tensions flare without warning. Military posturing happens daily. Crises don't escalate slowly. They explode into relevance overnight. And that's exactly where USS America thrives. She doesn't need months of preparation. She doesn't require diplomatic clearances for airfields. She doesn't wait for reinforcements. She shows up ready, with Marines, with aircraft, with command and control capability. As nations focus on anti-access and area denial, ships that can operate flexibly, unpredictably, and close to shore become more valuable, not less. USS America fits that future perfectly. She's not about dominance through size. She's about dominance through speed and presence. USS America didn't just change ship design, she changed how wars might begin. For decades, amphibious warfare meant mass landings, large formations, and predictable movement. Those concepts are now vulnerabilities. Modern enemies don't wait on beaches. They watch satellites. They track radar signatures. They prepare long before the first ship appears. USS America represents a different future. A future where Marines arrive from the air, not the sea. Stealth aircraft provide cover before boots touch ground. Command centers float offshore, mobile and protected. Instead of building overwhelming force in one place, the Navy can now distribute power across the battle space. Smaller groups, faster movement, less warning. USS America is a key part of that shift. She allows the United States to project power without escalation, to reassure allies without provocation, and to respond without delay. This isn't about replacing carriers. It's about reshaping options. And options are everything in modern conflict. So what is USS America? She is not the biggest ship in the Navy. She is not the most heavily armed. She will never dominate headlines the way supercarriers do. But she may be one of the most important. USS America represents a Navy that learned from the past and adapted for the future. A Navy that understands that wars no longer follow scripts, that crises don't wait for fleets to assemble, and that presence can matter more than firepower. She is a reminder that innovation is rarely perfect, that progress comes through experimentation, and that some ships are built not to replace history, but to guide what comes next. USS America wasn't designed to terrify the world. She was designed to arrive when the world is already in trouble, and that may be her greatest strength.